Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Tuesday, everyone. It is time for, you guessed it, another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. If you're new here, this is our daily updates where essentially I talk for 10, 15, usually 15 plus minutes, give or take, about what we did in our shop today. So why don't we go ahead and start with this guy, which we've had for longer than we had planned because we kept finding things wrong with it. But the goal is, of course, to make it safe and reliable and all that good stuff. And it has taken some work. Originally came in for a headliner and safari windows and a little paint touch-up, but we've redone literally everything on the brakes, pretty much redone all the shifting bushings and stuff like that, and pretty much rewired the whole front of the bus. Just the bus was kind of a mess, honestly. So anyway, it is like that close to being done. So Rafa replaced the master cylinder today. So if you follow the channel, you know that we put a new master cylinder in it. By the way, the bus is a 66, but at some point it was upgraded to dual circuit like a 67. And 67 master cylinders are hard to find. To my knowledge, there's not like a good German one or European one made. So you're kind of stuck with whatever, Chinesium one that you can get. So we put one of those in and couldn't get a good bleed on the back brakes. And so got another one from a different vendor, although probably from the same factory, where. Anyway, put it in, and Rafa also messed around with the brake push rod a little bit. It seemed like it was kind of bottoming out in a weird way, maybe on the master cylinder, and that was maybe creating some of the issues. So he spent some time modifying that. And so, I think the brake has I think the bus has some parts on it that are maybe not like the highest quality parts that a lot of times we like to use. And so I'm not sure about that brake push rod, but it didn't seem like it was quite right. And that was also not helping things. So Rafa spent a little bit of time modifying it to make sure we were getting the full stroke and so on out of it. And so we did that, and the brakes felt pretty decent, took it for a drive, and then one of the last things that he went to do is to straighten out the steering on it, because the steering wheel is not centered. So he double checked and made sure that the steering box itself is centered and all that good stuff. So it's not an issue there. And he adjusted the drag link as much as he could, and it's still off center. And I haven't looked at it, but he said the drag link on this bus looks like it's probably like not a good, kind of like a cheap looking production of one, not necessarily like a high quality one that we would normally use from Wolfsburg West. And again, we didn't put whatever is on there. But so, again, it was limiting our ability to straighten the steering out all the way. So we ordered one from Wolfsburg West, and we'll have that in the morning. And pretty sure that when we put that on, we'll have enough adjustment to actually center the wheels and the steering wheel so that when you're going down the road, the steering wheel is not all cattywampus, because that's super annoying. And it shouldn't be. Anyway, it's not right. So anyway, so that should literally be the last thing. And then we'll take the bus for some more test drives and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, it's been a much longer road than anticipated, and a great deal more expense on the behalf of the owner. However, the bus was seriously unsafe before, especially the brakes. Like half the brake parts were leaking, and hard lines that had been being sawed through by clutch cable and had kinks. It was kind of an accident waiting to happen, guys. So I'm really glad he brought it in for those more or less cosmetic things, and we sort of started crawling around the bus and found these other things. And plus the shifting was just awful. I don't know how he drove it. It was very hard to shift and to get in the gears. You just had to kind of like guess your way where the gears were, because all the bushings and stuff were so toast. Anyway, so yeah, it's going to be a much better driving and safer bus now, and much better looking, because it had some paint issues that we took care of too. So anyway, that was a good portion of Rafa's day. He then turned his attention to this guy. So we've got some little details that we're finishing up here. And one of them is, if you saw the seat belts that we had, which are cool, vintage ones. We got these from Eddie at Eddie and Dave's Garage. It's cool, old looking fabric. But the stickers were toast on them, and so we managed to get some stickers for them from a friend of ours who shall remain anonymous. And yeah, there you go. So big improvement, because the stickers were just gone basically. And so there you go, little touch there. And what else? We've been having some problems, believe it or not, with the brake pressure, or excuse me, the oil pressure sensor has been acting pretty screwy. We measured the engine oil pressure with a mechanical gauge. It's got crap tons of pressure, guys, so that's not an issue. But the gauge seems to be acting weird. It's one of the Wolfsburg West reproduction screw terminal gauges. We actually bought 2 of them just to, have a couple to test. And the second one we put in and also immediately was acting weird. Like when Rafa put it in and hooked everything up and turned on the ignition switch, of course, that's when you should see the idiot light come on, indicating that, hey, the light, the sender, everything works. Turn the key on and nothing happened. The idiot light did not come on, meaning that the sender was not making ground like it should when the engine's not running and there's no oil pressure. So I don't remember exactly what he explained, the process he went through. I think he might have just went ahead and started the motor. I don't know. Anyway, because again, we know the motor has plenty of pressure. So he started the motor, I think, and then shut it off, and maybe did that a couple times or two. And then the switch started working to where when you turn the key on, the light would come on. Start the car, light goes out, almost immediately. And I just started it to bring it in the shop. It behaved perfectly. But now we don't trust it because it started off by acting super weird. So we do have another brand new one that we bought. So we'll probably swap that one in tomorrow, which would be number 3. And if it behaves good, then, I think we're good to go. But yeah, just little things like that, guys. I don't know. For some reason, defective parts are just really killing us lately. I don't know what to say, guys. It seems like we've been going through a lot of them, mainly brake master cylinders lately. But now it seems like we've had a run of bad oil pressure lights, or switches rather. Eek, no good. So that was pretty much Mr. Rafa's day. Let's talk about what I did. So for that, we will step outside. Well, actually, here, we'll walk over here first. So continued working on the blue Baja Bug and got the rebuild kits today. So went ahead and rebuilt the carburetors and they look much better now. This is actually, this is not a matched pair. I mean, they're matched in that they're both 34 ICTs. They're both Webers. But I noticed when I started cleaning them that one looks a little bit more aged than the other, which, isn't necessarily an issue in itself. But yeah, one of them is Spanish and the other is Italian. And so I don't know, somehow whoever put this car together didn't end up with a match set, or, maybe they had a set originally of Italian ones and then one of them, I don't know, got broke or whatever and they replaced it and that was a Spanish one. I'm not sure how they ended up with a mismatched set, but it should have no effect on how it runs. So put those back together with Redline Weber rebuild kits and set the floats on them. The floats were way off on them, so got those set, got those dialed in. And yeah, so I will be putting those back on tomorrow. And in the meantime, here, let's walk out here for a second. Hold on. All right, here we are. So yeah, continuing on this guy, I went ahead today and replaced all of the fuel lines, or fuel hoses, I should say. So replaced those with correct German braided cloth 5mm hose all the way. Pretty much everywhere has that now. So it was before it was pretty much all, like rubber auto parts store hose, which doesn't really fit the metric connectors that great. So you got to really kind of squeeze it down with hose clamps, and it's not great, guys. And so I replaced every hose front and back in the fuel system with the good stuff, the German stuff. And so that is the fuel system now. It's pretty much ready for me to put the carburetors back on. And I think that will take care of the fuel system. And then probably tomorrow, after I put the carburetors and stuff on, if I continue to work on this, I'm gonna do an oil change and a valve adjustment. And then the next step on here will be to start looking at the brakes, which I don't know if I mentioned yesterday or not. One brake issue I already found is that the car has been upgraded at some point to front disc brakes. However, it has a single circuit master cylinder on it, which is a no-no, because any disc brake car should inherently have a dual circuit, and it should have one specifically that's for disc front and drum rear preferably. So yeah, there's a bunch of varieties of master cylinders, and you got to make sure that it matches the car, and it's a bit of a safety upgrade anyway to have a dual circuit. That way if one circuit goes out, at least the other end of the car can stop or slow you down or whatever. So but yeah, for now, finish up fuel system, do probably like a minor tune-up, you know, at least check the valves, check timing, check points, all that good stuff, and I think I'll probably run good, but that is yet to be determined. So what about this guy? I didn't mention this yesterday because I don't know why. This is not even a mini project. This is like a micro project, guys. Although Rene worked on it for a good portion of the day. So this car came in, a friend of ours here locally. His name is also Brian, but unlike most Brians around here that own VW shops, he doesn't. But he brought it in. This is a super cool, very original 65 that he bought for his dad, and his dad just loves this car, and I can see why. I mean, this thing is just seems to be about as original as you can get. I don't even know that it's been repainted. You know, it's got some little dents and dings here and there, but his dad just loves it. He's like, no, let's not change anything, and I can't blame him. It has still has a 40 horse in it. I don't think it's original to the car because it looks, I can't see any stamp there. It looks like there's just a D and nothing else. But it does seem to be a 40 horse based on the intake manifolds there. So I don't know, who knows, guys, but yeah, cool car for sure. Anyway, so what it came in for was the seat rails on the floor here, and one of the seat rails on the frame had some issues. And so we brought it in for us to fix that because the seat was like very wonky and kind of flopping all over the place when you would drive the car. So we put in new inner and outer seat rails on the floor. And then we also did a repair to the seat frame. I think it was the inner one there. All this on the driver's side. So took care of that. Seat feels great now. Slides back and forth, latches into place. No more wonkiness. So yeah, went ahead and took care of that for him. He's been asking us to help him out with it for a while, so went ahead and took it in, and here we go. So he's going to come grab it in the morning. But yeah, super cool car, guys. Love this thing. I would not touch it either. Okay, let's head back inside. All right, so the only other thing I did today a little bit is on this guy, the orange 70 Ghia. I did put the front brake pads into the caliper, so not a big deal. And guys, Impy is killing me. So a couple things here. One is that the spacing of the caliper when you bolt it to the adapter here, which essentially is part of the spindle, you know, the caliper is supposed to be relatively centered on the rotor. However, at least on this side, the driver's side, the caliper sits that way a bit much. And the result is it was pretty hard to get the outer pad in because there's just not much space between the caliper body, and the pistons are all the way flush. Like, it's not a piston thing, it's the body. So between the body essentially and the rotor, it's like no space. I had to like kind of gently tap the pad in there. And so as a consequence, this is pretty tight. So, I mean, it'll loosen up when you drive it. And I talked to Jason at Air Cooled Vintage Works, my primary MP dealer, and he, essentially said, yeah, they've seen that before, and it'll kind of wear itself in. But Guys, I mean, so it does come with shims. However, the shims only move it further in that direction. So right now there's no shim. So this is as far this way as it'll go. Any more shims and it would make the problem even worse. In fact, I wouldn't even be able to get the pad in there if I were to start adding shims, because again, the shims only add it, or only move it rather, in that direction. So on the passenger side, it was actually much better, and the caliper was centered much better, and the pads kind of went in with equal gap on both sides. So I guess it's just a machining consistency thing, guys. I don't know. The other thing that I'm having an issue with, which I haven't quite figured out yet, is this. So the threaded portion of the caliper is an NPT thread, and then it comes with these adapters which are NPT to AN, and then the lines, of course, have AN on one side, and then, you know, sort of the standard VW one on the other side, which goes, you know, toward the body, like you can see I have here. So that's fine and dandy. But anyway, so this adapter literally turns in like only half a turn and then gets super tight. And if you're familiar with NPT fittings, they have a taper on them. And so it's important that the taper, how big the tapered hole is on the male and the female, sort of match, so that you can drive this in far enough to get, you know, good thread engagement, but obviously not so far that it like bottoms out before it's tight. And so in this case, it's literally turning in half a turn worth of thread and then getting super tight. So normally with an AN fitting, or excuse me, with an NPT fitting, I'd want it to go in like, you know, I don't know, half a dozen threads or so at least, so there's a good thread engagement. And then at that point, that's when you grab your wrench and you sort of tighten it down, maybe another rotation or two, and then, you know, you feel very comfortable and very safe. But this is literally half a turn. I mean, I can throw a wrench on it and start tightening it, and maybe I can get to one turn, which would be one thread. I don't trust that at all, guys. So I'm gonna have to get a hold of somebody from Impy tomorrow and ask what I'm actually supposed to do here, because this is not good, guys. And the other side is exactly the same. And so I'm a bit baffled what I'm supposed to do here. But for sure, I'm not going to run these with just a thread or two of engagement, because that is asking for a massive brake failure. So I don't know, guys. Parts lately just killing me. Everything we do should be simple, and then the parts just come back and bite us in the you know what. So have to I don't know, talk to somebody over there tomorrow. I need an explanation from them and a solution. I don't want to re-engineer their parts. The only other thing I did is I went ahead and pulled out the shift rod from this car, because of course the bushing is completely toast. So this will be getting a genuine Washburn metal Delrin bushing, and I'll probably on this car I'll get the aluminum billet adapter at the back coupler where it attaches to the transmission. But yeah, for sure it's getting the Delrin one up front. So you need to clean up this shift rod, pick up one of those bushings from our friends at Washburn's Metal, and then I can put that back in. But anyway, guys, so I think that's actually it for today. So thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, appreciate it, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.